Boss said AI could replace me. Now they pay me $20,000 per month to fix what the AI broke. I gave it all. The overtime that went unnoticed. The weekends I spent working while my family carried on without me. The urgent issues I fixed, only for someone else to take the credit. I believed in the grind, convinced myself that loyalty meant something. Then, one day, my boss looked me dead in the eye and said, "The AI doesn't need breaks. It doesn't need a salary. And it definitely doesn't need you." Just like that, I was gone. Replaced. All those years of hard work, nothing. Until their so-called perfect AI came crashing down. The system they boasted about was losing them millions. Clients were furious. Deadlines. Gone. And guess who they turned to in desperation? Now, they pay me $20,000 a month to clean up their mess. This isn't just a paycheck. It's proof. You can't automate hustle. You can't code loyalty. And you sure as hell can't replace me. My name's Jake. For 8 years, I was the driving force behind Synergy Solutions, a tech company that was all about doing things better, faster, smarter. They loved talking about making work perfect, and I was the guy who made that happen. I wasn't just good at my job, I was the best. I worked with data, connected systems, and fixed problems that left even the big-shot tech guys scratching their heads. I knew how everything worked. I knew the people. I knew what was on the line. That job was my life. Every morning, I'd walk into that bright, busy office, coffee in hand, ready to take on the day. I could spot a mistake in a report before anyone else noticed. I could calm a frustrated coworker with a smile and a quick fix. I could make sense of a mess when the systems went down. I was the one they called when things fell apart, the one who always had the answer. And I loved it. Being needed, being trusted, it made me feel alive. I gave them everything. 8 years of my days, my nights, my heart. I'd stay late, long after the office went dark, fixing what others broke. I'd clean up their mistakes, double-check their work, and never complain. My boss, Karen, saw it all. She'd stop by my desk, her voice warm, and say, "Jake, you're indispensable." She called me the glue that held our team together, the one person they couldn't lose. I believed her. Why wouldn't I? Her words lit me up, made me feel like I was building something real, something lasting. I worked hard because I thought it mattered. I thought they saw me, really saw me, for what I brought to the table. I missed dinners with friends, skipped weekends away, put the company first. I told myself it was worth it. I was part of something bigger, a team that was going places. I thought I was safe, that my hard work would protect me. I thought loyalty meant something. For 8 years, I poured myself into that job. I learned every system, every trick, every shortcut. I trained new hires, shared my ideas, made the team stronger. I wasn't just an employee. I was the guy who kept the wheels turning. When a project went off track, I got it back on. When a client got mad, I smoothed things over. I was proud of what I did, proud of the difference I made. I thought they were proud of me too. But then, everything started to shift. It was October 2023, a chilly fall day that felt like any other. I walked into the office, same as always, ready for another day of fixing, building, helping. We had a big meeting that morning, and I grabbed my notebook, expecting the usual updates. But this was different. Karen stood at the front of the boardroom, sharp in her suit, her voice buzzing with energy. She called it Project Synergy 2.0, a bold new plan for the future. She said AI was coming, and it was going to change everything. It would make our work faster, cheaper, better than ever. It would redefine success, she said, her smile wide, her hands moving like she was painting a picture of a perfect world. AI was the future, and we were going to be the ones leading the charge. Everyone around me was excited, whispering, nodding, caught up in her words. I sat there, taking notes, listening closely. I wasn't worried. Not yet. I'd seen big ideas come and go. Blockchain, virtual reality, all the shiny trends that promised to change the world but never quite did. AI was just another tool, I told myself. It could help us, maybe make some things easier, but it couldn't do what I did. It couldn't think like me, solve problems like me, care like me. I knew how to handle chaos, how to keep people calm, how to make things work when everything else failed. I knew progress. I knew my value. I wasn't afraid of a machine. That night, I stayed late, same as always. The office was quiet, just me and my computer, the screen glowing as I checked some work. My coffee was cold, but I didn't care. I was focused, lost in the numbers, the systems, the rhythm of the job I loved. Karen's big speech was still in my head, but it didn't shake me. I told myself it was just talk, just another plan that would come and go. I was too busy doing what I did best, keeping everything running, keeping everything right. But then, the whispers started. They were soft at first, easy to miss. I'd hear bits of conversation in the break room, hushed voices when I passed by. People talking about layoffs, budget cuts, something called AI optimization. The words hung in the air, sharp and heavy, but I pushed them away. I didn't want to hear it. I told myself it was nothing, just office gossip. I'd been through this before. Every year, there'd be some big worry, some rumor that went nowhere. I was too important, too needed. Karen had said so herself, over and over. I was the glue, the one they couldn't lose. So I kept going, kept my head down, kept working. I stayed late, fixed problems, helped the team, same as always. But the whispers didn't stop. They got louder, sharper, harder to ignore. I'd catch a coworker glancing at me, their eyes uneasy, like they knew something I didn't. I'd hear Karen's voice in my head, calling me indispensable, and I'd hold on to that, use it to drown out the noise. But deep down, a small, quiet fear started to grow. A knot in my stomach, a feeling I couldn't shake. Something was coming, and I wasn't ready. I tried to ignore it. I told myself I was fine, that my work would keep me safe. I focused on the job, on the tasks, on the things I could control. I stayed later, worked harder, pushed myself to be even better. I thought if I proved myself enough, if I showed them how much they needed me, nothing could touch me. But that knot in my stomach kept tightening. The whispers kept growing, and I started to wonder if I was wrong, if maybe I wasn't as safe as I thought. Then, one morning, Karen called me into her office. Her voice was calm, professional, like it was just another day. I walked in, my heart beating a little faster, but I told myself it was nothing. Maybe a new project, a quick question, something small. I sat down across from her, ready to talk, ready to help. I had no idea my world was about to break. I had no idea that everything I'd worked for, everything I'd given, was about to be ripped away. Karen didn't waste time. I stood in her office, my hands clenched, waiting for her to speak. She sat behind her desk, her eyes fixed on some papers, not on me. "Jake," she said, her voice flat, "the AI system can handle your role now. It's faster, cheaper, more efficient." Her words hit me like a fist to the chest. My breath caught. 8 years. 8 years of giving them everything. And I was replaceable? Just like that? I stared at her, my heart pounding, my mind racing. This couldn't be real. I'd stayed late for them, fixed their messes, carried their team. I'd been the one they called indispensable, the one they couldn't lose. And now, she was telling me a machine could do it better? I felt the floor drop out from under me, like the world I'd built was crumbling into nothing. 8 years, and this was how it ended? I forced myself to speak. "Why?" I asked, my voice shaking. "Why me?" She finally looked up, but her eyes were cold, like she was talking to a stranger. She said the AI could process data 10 times faster than me. It didn't make mistakes. It didn't need sick days. It didn't need a paycheck. Her words were sharp, logical, like she'd rehearsed them. I understood her reasoning. I could see the numbers, the cost cutting, the shiny new plan. But I didn't understand her betrayal. How could she do this? How could she look at me, after all I'd done, and throw me away? I thought of all the nights I'd stayed late, my desk lamp the only light in the office, fixing problems no one else could. I thought of the new guy I'd trained, showing him the ropes, making him better. I thought of the award they gave me, team player, framed on my desk like a promise. I thought of Karen's words, calling me the glue, the one they needed. And now? Now I was nothing. A line item to be cut, a problem to be solved by a machine. I walked out of her office in a daze, my legs heavy, my chest tight. The office felt different now, like it wasn't mine anymore. I went to my desk, the place where I'd spent years building my life, and started packing. My hands moved on their own, shoving papers, pens, that stupid award into a cardboard box. My coworkers kept their heads down, their eyes anywhere but on me. No one said a word. No one even looked at me. A security guard stood nearby, watching, like I was some kind of threat. I wanted to scream, to ask them how they could let this happen, but I didn't. I just kept packing. By 5 p.m., my desk was empty. 8 years, and it took less than an hour to erase me. They gave me 2 weeks' pay, a quick handshake, a "thank you for your service" that felt like a slap. I walked out the door, my box in my arms, into the rain. The city was loud, cars rushing by, people moving on with their lives. I stood there, soaking wet, my life packed into a soggy box, and felt smaller than I'd ever felt. 8 years of loyalty, and I had nothing to show for it. I was 35, single, no savings, no plan. I'd given everything to that job, and now I was starting over with empty hands. The rain kept falling, cold and heavy, like the world didn't care. I walked home, my shoes squishing, my heart heavy. I kept hearing Karen's voice, her words looping in my head. AI can do your job better. It hurt. It burned. It made me question everything I thought I was. When I got to my apartment, it felt too small, too cluttered, too dark. I dropped the box on the floor and sank onto the couch. My laptop sat there, glowing, showing job listings I'd already started looking at. I scrolled through them, one after another, but the weeks that followed were a blur of disappointment. Rejection emails piled up in my inbox, each one a little sting. I went to interviews, put on a fake smile, but they always ended the same way. You're overqualified, they'd say, or you're not the right fit. I was too much or not enough, and I didn't know how to fix it. Nights were the worst. I'd lie awake, staring at the ceiling, replaying that moment in Karen's office. Her voice, so calm, so sure. AI can do your job better. I'd think about the boardroom, her confident smile as she talked up the AI, promising it would change everything. I'd think about my coworkers, their silence as I packed my desk. I'd think about all the times I'd gone above and beyond, all the moments I thought I was building something real. And I'd wonder, had it all been a lie? Had they ever cared about me at all? The betrayal cut deep. It wasn't just losing the job. It was losing my place, my purpose, my trust. I believed in them, believed in us, and they'd thrown me out like I was nothing. I felt angry, then sad, then numb. I wanted to give up, to let the hurt win. But something in me wouldn't let go. A small, stubborn spark that refused to die. I'd been betrayed, yes. I'd been pushed down, cast aside. But I wasn't done. I knew systems. I knew how things worked, how they broke. I knew failure, now more than ever. And deep down, I knew that AI, for all its promises, wasn't perfect. It couldn't be. Nothing was. I didn't know how or when, but I held on to that thought. It was the only thing keeping me going. I wasn't ready to break. Not yet. 6 months had passed since I walked out of Synergy Solutions, my life in a soggy cardboard box. 6 months of rejection, of doors slamming shut, of feeling like I'd never climb back up. But I didn't give up. I couldn't. I started freelancing, taking whatever work I could find. Small jobs, fixing bugs, cleaning up messy databases, helping small companies with their tech. It wasn't glamorous. It barely paid the bills. But it kept my skills sharp, kept my mind busy, kept that stubborn spark inside me alive. I was in a coffee shop one morning, my laptop open, my fingers flying across the keys. The place was noisy, people chatting, cups clinking, but I was focused. I was working on a tiny project, something to keep me going. Then, my laptop pinged. A new email. I opened it, expecting another rejection or a lowball offer. But when I saw the sender, my heart stopped. Synergy Solutions. The company that threw me away. The company that said a machine was better than me. I read the subject line. Urgent, system failure, consulting opportunity. My hands froze. I read it again, then again, to make sure I wasn't dreaming. They were in trouble. Big trouble. Their shiny AI system, the one they'd bet everything on, was falling apart. It was crashing hard. Reports were coming out wrong, full of mistakes that made no sense. Clients were angry, screaming about lost money and broken promises. Deadlines were slipping, projects were failing, and the whole company was scrambling. They needed help. And not just anyone's help. They needed me. I sat back, my coffee going cold, my mind racing. Part of me wanted to laugh. They'd kicked me out, told me I was nothing, and now they were begging me to save them? Another part of me burned with anger, remembering Karen's cold voice, her words that cut so deep. AI can do your job better. But there was something else, too. A quiet, steady feeling. A chance. A way to prove them wrong. A way to show them what I was really worth. I didn't reply right away. I let them wait. For 2 days, I thought it over, weighing my options. I could say no, walk away, let them drown in their own mess. Or I could go back, not as the guy they threw out, but as someone new, someone in control. I chose the second path. Not for them. For me. I wanted to show them they'd made a mistake. I wanted to show myself I was still here, still strong. When I walked into Karen's office, it felt different. She was frazzled, her desk a mess of papers and empty coffee cups. The sharp, confident boss I'd known was gone. She looked tired, stressed, like the weight of the company's failures was crushing her. I sat across from her, my face calm, my heart steady. I wasn't the same Jake who'd stood there 6 months ago, shocked and broken. I was someone else now, someone who knew his worth. Karen didn't apologize. She didn't mention the layoff, didn't acknowledge the way they'd thrown me out. She just jumped straight to the problem. The AI was a disaster, she said. It was spitting out garbage, data that was wrong, reports that made no sense. Clients were threatening to pull their contracts, millions of dollars hanging in the balance. The team was lost, the systems were failing, and they didn't know how to fix it. She looked at me, her voice tight, and said they needed someone who could step in, someone who knew the systems inside and out. Someone like me. I listened, my face blank, giving nothing away. Inside, I was screaming. This was the same woman who'd said I wasn't good enough, who'd chosen a machine over me. And now, here she was, practically begging for my help. I let her talk, let her lay it all out, let her show me just how desperate they were. Then she made an offer, a contract, $10,000 a month to come back and fix their mess. I didn't answer right away. I leaned back, looked her in the eye, and said, "We signed the contract that day." My name, Jake, written in bold ink, felt like a promise to myself. I wasn't coming back as their employee, as the guy who'd begged to keep his job. I was a consultant now, a fixer, someone they needed more than they'd ever admit. I walked out of her office, my head high, my heart pounding with something new, power. I understood their desperation. I understood the mess they'd made. And most of all, I understood my leverage. When I stepped back into the office the next day, it was like walking into a different world. The place was the same, bright lights, busy desks, the hum of computers, but I wasn't the same. My old coworkers glanced at me, their whispers following me down the hall. Some looked surprised, some looked uneasy, but I didn't care. I wasn't here for them. I was here to do a job, to fix what they'd broken, to show them what they'd lost when they let me go. I sat at a new desk, not my old one, and opened my laptop. The problems were worse than I'd imagined. The AI was a mess, churning out errors that piled up like a car wreck. But I wasn't scared. I knew these systems. I knew how to find the cracks, how to patch them up. I'd done it for years, back when they called me indispensable. And now, they were paying me to do it again, not because they wanted to, but because they had to. Every click of my keyboard felt like a step forward, a way to take back what they'd stolen. I wasn't just fixing their system. I was fixing myself, piece by piece. They thought they could replace me. They thought their machine was better. But they were wrong, and I was going to prove it. One problem at a time, one solution at a time, I was going to show them who I really was. I sat at my new workstation, screens all around me, each one showing a mess of data that didn't make sense. The AI, their so-called perfect solution, was a disaster. It was fast, yes, but it was blind. It didn't understand the little things, the details, the context, the human touch that made a system work. It churned out mistakes like a broken machine, spitting out bad numbers, wrong reports, errors so basic they'd make a beginner blush. But I wasn't surprised. I'd known it couldn't replace me. And now, I was proving it. For weeks, I dug into the chaos. I worked long hours, picking apart the AI's mess. Bad formulas, sloppy labels, logic that fell apart under scrutiny. I found it all. Every mistake was like a brick in a wall they'd built to keep me out, and I was tearing it down, one piece at a time. My old coworkers hovered nearby, watching, nervous, like they were waiting for me to fail. But I didn't. I fixed what the AI broke, step by step, problem by problem. I was in control now, and they could feel it. Every fix I made was a reminder they needed me. Not their fancy machine, not their big promises. Me, Jake, the guy they'd thrown away, the guy they'd said wasn't good enough. I could see it in their eyes, the way they looked at me, a mix of surprise and respect. They'd underestimated me, thought I was just another worker they could replace. But I was more than that. I'd always been more than that. And now, they had no choice but to see it. I didn't just fix their problems. I went further. I rebuilt their entire system, made it stronger, smoother, better than it had ever been. I streamlined their work, cut out the clutter, made everything run like a well-oiled machine. I trained their staff, showed them how to avoid the same mistakes, how to think like I did. I wasn't just cleaning up their mess. I was making them better than they'd been before I left. Better than they'd been when they thought a computer could do my job. Every morning, I walked into that office with my head high. I wasn't the broken man who'd left 6 months ago, carrying a soggy box in the rain. I was someone new, someone who knew his worth, someone who held the keys to their success. My old desk, my old life, felt like a distant memory. This wasn't about going back. This was about moving forward, about showing them what they'd lost when they chose a machine over me. And every month, that $20,000 landed in my bank account. It wasn't just money, it was proof. Proof that I was right, that they were wrong, that I was worth more than they'd ever realized. I'd asked for $20,000, and Karen had agreed without a fight. That moment stayed with me, a quiet victory that grew louder every time I saw my bank balance. They needed me, and they were paying for their mistake. Every dollar was a reminder of what I'd fought for, what I'd earned. I moved into a new apartment, a bright, modern place that felt like a fresh start. I unpacked boxes, set up my new life, and felt something shift inside me. The anger that had burned so hot after the layoff was fading. The hurt, the betrayal, the nights lying awake replaying Karen's words, they were slipping away. I wasn't angry anymore. I was strategic. I was calm. I was in charge. I stood in a boardroom one day, presenting my work to the company's top bosses. Karen sat there, silent, watching me. I didn't look at her. I didn't need to. I spoke clearly, confidently, showing them the new system, the fixes, the results. Clients were happy again. Contracts were safe. Deadlines were met. The numbers were climbing. The team was stronger, and it was because of me. The executives nodded, asked questions, thanked me. Karen said nothing, but I could feel her eyes on me. I didn't care. This wasn't about her anymore. It was about me. Every step I took in that office was a kind of revenge, not the loud, angry kind, but the quiet, steady kind. I wasn't yelling or fighting. I was proving they'd made a mistake when they let me go. Proving I was better than their AI, better than their plans, better than they'd ever given me credit for. Every fixed error, every happy client, every smooth process was a message. You were wrong about me. I thought back to those dark days, the rejection emails, the interviews that went nowhere. I thought about lying awake, Karen's voice in my head, telling me I wasn't enough. Those moments had hurt, had made me doubt myself, but they'd also made me stronger. They'd pushed me to fight, to keep going, to find my way back. And now here I was, not just surviving, but winning. I understood their mistake now. They'd thought a machine could do what I did, that speed and cheapness were all that mattered. But they'd missed the bigger picture, the human part, the part that saw what others didn't, the part that cared enough to get it right. I understood my worth, too. I wasn't just a worker, just a name on a paycheck. I was the one who made things work, the one who turned chaos into order. And they were paying me to prove it. As the weeks turned into months, I felt lighter. The weight of the betrayal was lifting, replaced by something new, pride. I'd taken their mistake and turned it into my victory. I'd taken their mildly interesting, one of the most popular news aggregation sites on the web published an article titled 10 Things You Didn't Know About Your Favorite Video Game, in which it was revealed that the original programmer of the classic video game, Tetris, Alexei Pajitnov, didn't make any money from the game until 1996, over a decade after its release, because he created it while working for the Soviet government, which claimed ownership of the intellectual property. This wasn't about getting even. It was about getting justice. It was about showing the world, and myself, that I was more than they thought. I was unstoppable. It's been a year since I walked back into Synergy Solutions, not as the man they threw away, but as someone new, someone stronger, someone who knew his worth. I sit here now, on the porch of a quiet cabin by a lake, the sunset painting the sky in soft pinks and oranges. My coffee's warm in my hands, the air cool and still. For the first time in a long time, I feel at peace. I'm not just surviving anymore. I'm thriving. That year changed everything. I'm still consulting, for Synergy and other companies, too. My calendar is full, my phone buzzing with new offers, new projects, new people who want my help. My rates keep climbing, each job paying more than the last. I'm not scraping by, not hoping for the next gig to cover rent. I'm building something real, something mine. I'm not the guy who walked out in the rain, carrying a soggy box of a broken life. I'm someone else now, someone who fought back, who rose above, who turned pain into power. Betrayal hurts. It cuts deep, like a wound you can't see but feel with every breath. When they told me a machine could do my job better, when they pushed me out after 8 years of loyalty, it broke me. I felt small, worthless, like everything I'd worked for was a lie. I was replaced, cast aside, forgotten, or so they thought. But that betrayal, as painful as it was, did something else, too. It woke me up. It showed me I could fall, but I could also get back up. It built me, stronger than before, because I chose to let it. I think back to those dark days, and they feel like a lifetime ago. I remember standing in the rain, my box heavy in my arms, the city rushing past like I didn't exist. I remember the quiet of my cramped apartment, the glow of my laptop as rejection emails piled up. I remember lying awake, Karen's words echoing in my head. AI can do your job better. Those moments crushed me, made me doubt who I was. But they also lit a fire inside me, a stubborn spark that refused to go out. I wasn't done. I wouldn't let them decide my story. Then I think of the triumphs, the moments that pulled me back. The email from Synergy, their desperate plea for help when their AI crashed. The contract I signed, my name bold on the page, demanding $20,000 a month because I knew my worth. The boardroom where I stood, confident, showing the executives how I'd saved their company, how I'd made them better than before. Those weren't just wins, they were redemption. Not for them, not to prove a point to Karen or the coworkers who'd looked away. For me, to prove to myself that I was enough, that I was more than they'd ever seen. I understood their system better than they did. I saw its cracks, its flaws, the places where their shiny AI fell apart. I understood their failure, too. Their mistake in thinking a machine could replace a person, replace me. But most of all, I understood myself. I learned who I was in those hard months, in the quiet of rejection, in the fight to come back. I wasn't just a worker, just a name they could erase. I was the one who fixed what others broke, who saw what others missed, who cared enough to make things right. They thought AI could replace me. They were wrong. And now, they pay me to prove it every single month. That $20,000 isn't just money. It's a symbol, a reminder of what I fought for, what I earned. It's the weight of their mistake, the price of their betrayal, turned into my victory. But it's not about the money, not really. It's about what it means, about standing tall after being knocked down, about finding your strength when the world says you're nothing. It's about writing your own ending, no matter what others try to take from you. I sip my coffee, the lake calm in front of me, and I feel something new, hope. Not the shaky kind that flickers in the dark, but the steady kind that grows from knowing you're stronger than you thought. I've been through the worst, betrayal, loss, doubt, and I came out the other side. I didn't just come back. I built something better, something mine. My work, my life, my future, they're in my hands now, and no one can take that away. I think about Synergy sometimes, about Karen, about the office where I gave so much. I don't hate them anymore. I don't carry that anger. It's gone, replaced by something quieter, something stronger. I forgive them, not because they deserve it, but because I deserve to be free. I've let go of the hurt, the what-ifs, the nights spent wondering why. I've taken their mistake and turned it into my story, my strength, my redemption. This cabin, this moment, feels like a gift. A chance to breathe, to reflect, to see how far I've come. I'm not the man who stood in the rain, lost and broken. I'm not the man who begged for a chance to stay. I'm the man who fought, who rose, who proved them wrong. And I'm still going, still growing, still writing my story. I set my coffee down, the sunset fading into dusk. The world feels big, full of possibilities I didn't see a year ago. This is my story, mine to tell, mine to live. It's a story of betrayal, yes, but it's also a story of resilience, of redemption, of finding your way back to yourself. They thought they could replace me. They thought they could break me. They were wrong. And this is just the beginning. This is my story. And it's not over yet.